Hello, Karen Maxwell here with Real Impact Plano, and it's time for our Wednesday pie call. I call it pie, it's Plano Idea Exchange. So, Real Impact Plano is a franchise of Dennis J. Henson's Real Impact Training Systems. And my location is located in Plano, Texas, but we actually meet in Addison at the Quest Trust office there in Dallas on Montfort. We meet the first Saturday of every month. And this next month, May the 6th, we have Randy Hughes coming to talk with us about using land trusts to protect our assets. So if you're interested in that, get with me. Give me a call at 903-445-6023 or send me a text and I will certainly send that information out to you. Put my phone number up there. And I'll also put the link in the comments. That way you can just click on it and get signed up for that. And that's can be found on Meetup or Facebook, Eventbrite. It's all over the place. So we hope to see you there. I've got a couple of people trying to get in. Hopefully they can get the link to today's call. So we do these calls every Wednesday at noon. They're absolutely free. They're open to anyone. You don't have to be in the Plano area. Real estate investing is a network, and we rely on that network to build our own networks. So if you have anything that you're needing for your real estate investing business or a business or service that you provide to real estate investors, and we would love to have more contractors on these calls to let people know what services they provide and where. Real Impact has locations from Oklahoma City to Waco to Wichita Falls to Arlington to as far east as Longview, Texas. So we have 12 franchises right now. I got a comment. Let me go see here. Hey, Lone Star Southern, good afternoon. What's your name? So I don't call you Lone Star Southern. But anyway, so we have, our network it's important for us to always be adding people to our personal business Rolodex. And matter of fact, yesterday I was having lunch with one of my previous attendees, and I was leaving. I walked by a guy that had a shirt on that said something about his company and that he was a contractor. And then I went ahead and walked outside because I was in a little bit of a hurry. And I saw his truck parked right beside mine. So I ran back in and got his card and talked with him a little bit. He does, his name is Ray Gamble, I believe. Oh, hey, Brandon. So Brandon Florence with Reliable Renovation does all kinds of work. Y'all do concrete. Y'all do. Can you tell me in the comments, Brandon, what all you guys do? And then what areas y'all service? Because I know y'all are I know y'all definitely include Longview and Tyler, Gladewater. Gabby is having so much trouble. Oh no. Hang on, let me invite Gmail. Did I do it wrong again? Maybe I didn't update my link. Brandon, did you get the link to join me on StreamYard? Or was it for last week, April 5th? Whoa. Sorry, guys. I guess I may have sent out the wrong link, but it'll be fine. Okay. So Brandon does, Reliable Renovation does full remodels, predominantly take care of, but we do have some new build things in the works. Oh, exciting. So Brandon, you joined me on the YouTube link, not the StreamYard link. If you were on the StreamYard link, you would be on video. And that's totally up to you if you want to be on the video or not. There's Miss Gabby.
There we are.
There we are. I'm sorry. So the email the email that I sent out today went to last week. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Entering the studio.
I just
Sorry
thought I'd
about
let
that.
you know. So you.
Yeah, thanks. Because so Gabi, while I'm fixing this, I'm going to resend this out. Can you tell everybody about the 1 day training that we have coming up? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let me do one thing first. Brandon, can you please, gosh, type your phone number in the chat or how they would contact you? YouTube will probably remove that. So if maybe Gabi could read it once it comes up, in case if YouTube deletes it, we'll still have that on there.
Okay.
And I'm going to go fix my link and resend it out. Gabi, do you want to talk about our class, our meeting that we have coming up on April 22nd?
Sure, I will talk about that. So we're gonna have a really wonderful program coming up on the April 22nd. It's gonna be in the Quest building in Addison, and we're gonna send out more information where the location is. But we're gonna talk about how to find a deal, how to analyze a deal, and then also we're gonna go and talk about how we can fund the deal. And then the best part also is then you're gonna go out and gonna take a look at the property and see if you like it, and if it's really gonna be working for you. And we have a realtor there, so he can help you to write an offer with the new track forms. And then I will submit your loan if you want to use me to get your loan funded. So that's the exciting news that we're going to have. We noticed that this was one of the biggest requests that we got after our expo, that people really want to learn how to analyze a deal and how to get the right funding for it. Because just getting funding from somebody that doesn't understand how investor work is going to be very difficult. So you're going to learn how to ask the right question, to talk to the loan officers, and how to get the right funding done. So, because a lot of banks and a lot of credit unions and a lot of loan offices, they offer funding, but is that the right funding for you? That's another big question that you may need to ask, because you can get funding and then you're going to be upside down on the whole deal. So you really have to figure out how to analyze it correctly, that you're going to have, that you offer the right price. Because if you make, when it starts on offering the correct amount for the property in order to make a profit on the whole thing. Because yeah, you can get funding 100%. I can get you funding 100% of financing and everything, and up to 75% LTV. But are you going to be making money on the deal? That's
And
the
are you going to be able to refinance it out when you're done rehabbing it? That's a
yeah,
big thing.
and that's a big thing, because then you know, if you, let's say you have a house that's 200, the after repair value was 200,000 with 75%. Um, but you used $199,000 for the rehab in the purchase price.
Right.
You're
You
gonna have
know,
a
that,
problem.
and the other thing is the cash flow. You have to make sure that your property is cash flowing.
Hmm.
Once you get it, so you buy a property, if you want to, you were talking about exit strategies, and that's what we're really going to dive into on April 22nd is it has to make sense. If your exit strategy is to buy and hold it, well, no, let's back up. If your exit strategy is to fix and flip and you're doing the 100% purchase price and 100% of the renovations, the rehab, and
Hmm.
then you end up, you can't sell it.
No,
Now you're
I
well,
do.
in the event that I hope that you all sell all your houses. But in the event that you can't sell the house, it doesn't sell in the time that you allotted that you were anticipating, and now you have extra holding cost. I mean, we're coming up on the summer now, and you're going to have to mow in that yard every couple of weeks to keep the code enforcement away, to keep your property looking presentable while it's being shown, and you're hoping to sell it. And then, okay, hold on, Gabby. Hold that thought for 1 second. Edit, value.
I mean, holding a property can be very costly,
Oh, it can be very
especially
costly.
especially if you don't maintain it and if you don't walk through it, because you can have a water leak suddenly coming up, or you can have rodents in there that you don't know about. And I mean, it's just you have
And
to maintain it and you have to take it serious.
you have increased vandalism increases. If the longer a property sits there
Right.
vacant, that the holding costs can absolutely kill you. But so now you're in the point. Now you're at the point where, well, what if I just buy and hold it? What if I just hold it and put a rent, make it a rental or a short-term rental? You still have to pay off that first loan. And if you haven't anticipated, maybe the property is worth more than you can rent it. The numbers don't work for a rental. So
Right.
that can't be a plan B for an exit strategy for that property if you didn't buy it right. So that's what we always we look at things from so many different directions. We don't just say, okay, I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to fix and flip it. But what happens if it doesn't sell? What happens if you go over budget? What are your other options? Uh, there's
And you also need to figure out what inflation goal is.
Hi
Hey,
guys.
Brandon, I'm
Hi.
gonna mute you. Why? Because I can hear your background, like your background noise or your air conditioner or something. So I'm just gonna mute you for a second while she finishes this.
Yes, ma'am.
So the thing is, if you could go over your budget by just if you put into a house like granite countertops that you should not put granite countertops in there just because you think it's gonna look good. It's not what the market is for that neighborhood.
But you have
Okay.
to look at the comps. What are the comps doing? And then do that. You don't want to do a whole lot more and you don't want to do a whole lot less.
Exactly. You really have to have like Brandon on the team who knows exactly what is good for the neighborhood because he knows his stuff. You need to have a good contractor and not just an X, Y, and Z. I know I talked to somebody yesterday. He said he worked with somebody and he had to let him go, and it's costing him $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money that you have to come out of pocket. So
A lot.
make sure you're really working with somebody that you can trust. Like if you refer somebody out and that person screws you up, I can guarantee you that there are two people right now sitting on top of their neck. That would be Karen and me.
Right.
You don't want to deal with both of our personality at the same time. I guarantee you that much too. I mean, if you're in a good mood and we're happy with you, you're in a good shape.
Right.
But if you screw somebody up that we know, oh, we find you.
That's right. Absolutely.
I mean, because we care about our people and we care about the referrals that we do. And I'm so glad Brandon is here today. I mean, he's our lifesaver on one of our deals that we are working on right now. Tim and I are working with Shannon on. It's exciting to see that, because if you have a good team, and that was our Dream Expo about.
right.
Your dream team. And that's what you're going to find at those workshops. We're going to introduce to you people that we know we can trust.
Absolutely.
We have worked with them. Somebody has worked with them before. Even I've not worked with Brandon before, but I know who has worked with him before, who has recommended him, who has seen his work. And that's what means the world. I mean, can things happen? Can things go south? Absolutely, things can go south. But if you have a good team, they work together and make it happen regardless.
Exactly.
And that's the uniqueness, because I mean, Brandon may have an idea and say, yeah, that thing broke, but you know what? Actually, I have one sitting there that somebody else gave me. I'm just going to give it to you because I know I'm going to get another deal from you in the future.
right.
And
And they fix it that fast, that quick off something that was already used but still in good shape. Or I've had to tell a contractor, take that toilet lid off. We put a wooden toilet lid, a brown wooden toilet lid in our $150,000 house. He was like, well, that's what I always use. I'm like, not in my properties, you're not. So he took it off. It was already paid for. We ordered another one that was, the white oblong or whatever, and the right toilet. I've even seen them put toilet lids, a round toilet lid on an oblong toilet, or an oblong toilet lid on a round toilet. I'm like, you had one job. Buy a toilet lid that fit the freaking toilet. It's not rocket science that we're dealing with here, people. It's common sense. And if you get the wrong one, for God's sake, don't install it and hope that I won't realize it. Because a woman will walk in a house and be like, What else is wrong with this house? What other corners did they catch? Did they not think I was going to realize the toilet lid did not match, did not
Yeah.
fit the toilet?
It's
I
true.
see
You
that
know,
a lot
that's
of
the thing
Airbnb.
is, you really will know it. You will know
I mean,
it.
they're practically the same freaking price. Like it was
Mhm.
just, it just baffles me. Let me bring Brandon. Oh, there's Charity.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm gonna unmute Brandon. Where's unmute? Hey, Miss Charity, how are you?
good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We were just fixing to talk with Brandon. Brandon, anything
Yes,
you want
ma'am.
to say? Or anything that y'all have exciting going on that you're needing or have available?
More days in the hour right now,
Yeah.
or more hours in the day. Basically,
Yeah.
we're super busy, but we're actually on our way right now to a property for Mr. Tony Jardu with
Okay.
the Real Impact Group, and
Yeah.
we're about to make some measurements for them. We're going to be taking care of a property for them out there and their team in Tyler, and we just helped or we're finishing up signing with Miss Shannon basically.
Okay.
Miss Roberts for a property out there in Stephenville. We were supposed to go earlier today, but we've been so busy I haven't quite made it to Stephenville. But I'm planning to go tonight. I've got to go all the way out there to Stephenville and basically get our material list worked up for it. So it's been a week.
You know, it's interesting, Brandon. I never wanted to know that y'all worked in Stephenville. That's a good drive for y'all.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. So one of our contractors, he actually has a lot of family out there in the Fort Worth area, and
Yeah.
it's not too far of a drive for him, basically. And they have a large family, and they're very multi-skilled.
Yep.
Some of them are roofers, some of them are drywall specialists, some of them are electricians, plumbers. So it kind of worked out right, but that's about as far as we go. We only go to about a 3-hour radius of Tyler and Longview currently in East Texas.
Okay.
so when you're coming to Wichita Falls,
What was that?
you're not coming to Wichita Falls?
It
His
cut out
face
on
said
me.
it
I'm
all.
sorry.
No.
What do I say?
I'm kidding. No, I respect your time, believe me.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I think it's exciting to know that we have really teams all over Texas that can help each other out. And that's the nice thing about Impact. The impact that we have is that we can reach out to so many different groups and we can find great, contractors, surveyors, whatever we can find. We just make a phone call. Hey, I'm caught up in the pickle. Can I get some answers on that? And somebody's like, oh yeah, pop that in that and it's taken care of.
right.
I can't.
Hey,
For some reason,
Brandon,
it's
if
cutting
somebody
out on
wants to
me.
get a hold of y'all, what number would they call?
So our business number is the 903-918-8101. But my personal number, sometimes my phones die because I'm legitimately on them so often. But the other one is 903-812-4688. And if anyone needs that, they can find us on Facebook at Reliable Renovation of EastTexas.com or of East Texas, and that's our website is Reliable Renovation of EastTexas.com. That's us.
And what was your personal number?
903-812-4688.
Okay. 812. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
And we offer free estimates. We don't charge for estimates, stuff like that. We're very investor friendly, or we like to think so. Sometimes we are on the more expensive side from what we hear. But it's one of those things, like you were saying, the one thing you'll never have to worry about with us is whenever the job gets done, whatever your expectations are, they're going to be met. All of our contractors that we hire, all of our guys that work with us, we have a 100% satisfaction policy. Like we make sure our clients are 100% satisfied. The last thing we want to do is leave and somebody pay us for something that we don't feel like somebody was happy with,
Right. That customer service, that you want to meet or exceed their expectations. But Brandon, tell us about. So I was talking with someone recently, and they said, "Well, when do I get my contractors to go give me a bid on a property?" And I suggested that doesn't come until you are certain that you're going to be putting this property, that you're going to be making an offer, and it's likely to get accepted.
For some reason, I think, Miss Karen, my signal's bad. I may need to get on my personal phone and
Okay,
see
that's
if
fine.
that works.
So what I was saying is, if you, as real estate investors, especially talking to new investors, they often don't understand when they should be trying to get an actual bid from an actual contractor. So Gabi, Charity, in y'all's opinion, for me, I personally, I don't like to send my contractors out to get me an actual bid, which takes that takes their time, their money. They spent time doing when they could have been working for other people making money to give me a bid. And I don't do that until I know that I am going to be making an offer on this property that's likely to be accepted. And that's only if I don't have, if I'm not working with someone that's not going to give me a inspection period. If I have an inspection period, I want to go ahead and get it under contract before I send my contractors out. But if I'm working with a wholesaler, for example, and they won't give me an inspection period, then I need to get my inspections done and get my bids before I make my offer. Because just because they said the repairs estimate is $20,000, but then I go in and look at it and say, oh, I think the repairs are going to be higher than that, then I'm losing my opportunity to negotiate. Whereas if I go ahead and if I don't want to send my contractor out to every single property that I'm considering, because if I don't make an offer, or if my offer is not accepted, then I've wasted their time.
Exactly.
So
the thing is, what Tim does is, I mean, he's the one who does the fix and flip more than I do.
Right.
But when we go out, we usually take a lot of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And those pictures, from the AC, from the electrical, everything that we see, we send them pictures. But usually by the time we're done, they're showing up anyway because they're curious what we're doing.
Right.
But the thing is, if we make an offer, we make a serious offer on a property that we really want to make an offer on, we may have somebody going out anyway to check it out.
Uh-huh.
But that has been basically already scaled down to the yes, the offer is going to go in that evening, and we know already it's going to be accepted, like you said.
Right.
I definitely would say do a good, after a while you're going to get a good estimate on it anyway, what it's going to be, because you can take the numbers, that we're giving in our classes.
Yep.
And then as soon as you're under contract, if you go under contract at 5:00 that night, you're going to give Brandon or whoever a call and say, okay, I got it under contract. Please go out ASAP. I may need to renegotiate.
So you have them look at it before you get it with just the pictures.
If there's a scenario that you're not 100% sure, then I would get somebody out there. But just to be on the 100%, so I'm not 100%, but on the 80% side, sure. But usually you can get your own estimate because, we're teaching the classes so specifically on how to do a good estimate ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Use that estimate sheet that we are having for you already, that kind of sort of, I mean, how a toilet is. A toilet is about 100 or 150, depending on what kind of value you're getting from the house. So kind of your cost, what it needs to be. But the thing
Speaking
is,
of toilets, can everybody please stop using those ones with the two buttons? Like with the two buttons.
Oh, where you push it?
I freaking hate those. Every house that I've lived in that's had one, we put them in our personal house. Thought they were so cool. No, those are not cool. Sam's, $100, flushing toilet, get it. It's normal. It works fine. Oh my God. Anyway, go ahead.
That taking, but the thing is, I mean, get a good estimate. But if you have a question, if you are looking at the roof and you go like, not 100% sure, then get your roofer out there. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
And
you
that
can
depends also on your exit strategy. If you're going to flip that house and the roof is questionable, will it pass the inspection for the for an FHA buyer? Will it come back and say, "Oh no, it needs a new roof"? We've had to replace a roof before. It was perfectly fine, but we had to replace the roof because the FHA inspector required it. And I'm like, "Oh my God!"
I have to mute myself for a second.
Go ahead. So Brandon and Charity, what I do is I do 3 estimates. I do my ballpark estimate based on what I believe to be the condition based on the square footage.
Right.
Then I do my walkthrough and see if there's any of those big things that I missed that I didn't know about. Maybe the foundation, maybe the roof. So the foundation, roof, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC.
That's right.
But everything, and sometimes you have to add to that. You know, we used to could do $5,000 for each of those back in the day, like 2014. But now a roof could set you back if you don't have a company in your pocket doing it for you at that cash price that can throw it on. I mean, there are some that are just fantastic, and I've got a couple. But if I'm going to say if I'm in a market that they're not in, then I've got to pay anywhere from $8,000 to $16,000. It can really like central air and heat. We tried to get someone to install central air and heat at that little house in East Texas, and literally the lowest one was $8,500 up to $16,000. And I'm like, okay, number one, I'm not paying you $16,000, but he was in the Metroplex, and I'm like, I don't even know why you're bidding on this. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're from Dallas, like you're trying to charge me Dallas, and I don't know why anybody would do that anyway. But it was $18 to replace the sewer line to the street. I don't know what it is now. I haven't had to do it, but it used to be $5,000 was our kind of guideline because it all kind of balanced out. But that's not the case anymore.
I actually have a question for Brandon.
Okay,
Brandon, if something's on like a house has been burnt, I've been told that there's different rules, I think like EPA standards or whatever for the air quality. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So how do I, if I'm doing an estimate on something that's been burnt, how do I do an estimate for like, okay, a prime example, I'm working on one, the roof is burnt. So obviously it needs a new roof, but how would I estimate for the extra?
So the biggest thing is with burns, there's 9 times out of 10, the way that we estimate on burns is we always try to take out as much as possible and just go back brand new. That's, I mean, depending on how extensive the burn was, like, it's hard to explain, but basically where the burn stops, everything behind it always has to be replaced, like all the wiring in the walls, all of the plumbing has to be replaced. If it's copper, you got to think the joints could have been sweated off because of the heat. The PVC, the CPVC could be melted. It could be fractured because some of the things in the wall could have been supporting the plumbing, and some of the things could have just, snapped in some of the joints, like the elbows or the T's. So a lot of times we're actually taking care of one in Marshall right now. It'd be a great example. We'll definitely take lots of pictures for the group and everything, but we're working with some people over there and trying to take care of a unit that was a quadplex, and the bottom left unit burned, and surprisingly, like it burned the floors of the other unit. So there's a lot of it's surface damage. So like you're saying, it's one of those things you have to get with every city and municipality is different. If you're working, and that probably sounds terrible, but
that's absolutely true.
It's like genuinely, if you're working with Dallas or in Metroplex area, you're definitely going to have to rip out 100% everything. Some things can be scrubbed, and it really, again, depends on the extent of the burn. But some things can be repaired instead of replaced. But in most cases, most municipalities want you to just go ahead and replace it, and that's pretty standard. Just because like you said, it's breathing quality and things of that nature. The state usually doesn't play when it comes to stuff like that.
Right, right. So after they replace it, that's all? There's no extra. I'm trying to see if there's extra things that have to take place. If they just replace it, they don't have to like do any spraying or anything special like that. They just replace them. That's it.
So usually what we have to do in estimating on burns is we have to quote a lot of contingencies for lumber and things of that nature, because
Okay.
what happens is depending on how long the unit has been sitting on the market, or how long the unit has been sold, transferred, how long it's been since the unit has been opened by the burn, if there's any way that the exterior has gotten access to like rain and things of that nature, depending on how long, you could have extensive rot. The burn may be the least of your worry. Believe it or not, at that property in Marshall, like it's been like this and it's been conditioned for a while. So there's two beams that are 100% rotten in the entirety of the house, and we're gonna have to do serious releveling and foundation repair. And it's a fourplex. It's a 2-story fourplex. So we're gonna have to pick up the house pretty stout like. But that's something a lot of people, whenever you think about a burn, the first thing you think about is, okay, well, I've got to replace all the burn stuff. A lot of people don't think about, well, there's other factors like where things were supposed to stay. Now they could have shifted. You could have more serious foundation issues. Where the water main ties into the house, whenever you run back into PEX, are you going to want to dig up all that copper under the house, and go with all brand new PEX, or is the copper line even damaged? Stuff like that. It's just burns. You always want to, and I genuinely, you just want to try and quote high. Miss Lockhart can probably attest to this. You want to just make sure that everything's covered, because you never want to go back to the bank and say, hey, we really forgot this. We're going to need another few $1,000s to get us through the project. We've never had to do that, but it's one of those things. I've heard those nightmare stories, and yeah.
Okay.
Does that help you out, Charity?
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you.
This isn't the one we were talking about yesterday, is it?
No.
Okay.
I
was like 40,000 my butt.
No, this was that one. This wasn't that one.
Oh goodness. So Charity and I were talking about a property yesterday, and she was told that there was $40,000 repairs needed, and I'm like, well, do you have that to back that? Do you have anything to back that up, or is that just what you say? Because I was telling her, I do I think Gabi was away. I said, I do mine by my rough estimate based on what I consider to be the condition of the property based on the square foot. I have set different set amounts, but then I also walk through the property to put my eyes on it. And then I do take pictures and a video, like you said. And then if I have a specific question about, if I take a picture of the hardwood floors and say, hey, ask my hardwood floor guy, hey, can these be saved? He can usually look at it and tell. I mean, I don't know. That's like a whole art in itself, the hardwood floor guys. It's just, I'm amazed at what the rabbits they can pull out of their hats. But I can generally send, pretty much a picture to my sub and say, hey, what is your opinion on this? But Brandon, how close can y'all get to making an estimate of the rehab based on the pictures, if you have all the pictures that you need?
So most of the time we're pretty efficient with it. The only time there becomes an issue is when it is burn, rot, like suspicion of wet, releveling, things of that, and like foundation issues and roofing things. Anything like structural, it's best to go ahead and ask, like Miss Lockhart was saying, go ahead and get your contractor to go put eyeballs on it, if at all possible, because you just never know. Like we were very fortunate. The property over in Athens, it was phenomenal. There's not near as much repair as the pictures were making it look out to be. And the gentleman the inspector who took the pictures did a fantastic job. But it's just one of those, we got there and the releveling and things like that, they don't look to be very severe. So you
That's the
definitely,
thing.
if you have any structural issues or anything like that, you want to go ahead and try and get your contractor out there on location.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
I think you need to put them out as soon as possible when you're in closing.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially before you start moving into the closing. Like you don't
Yes,
want to wait until
especially.
closing to start getting written bids.
Well,
As soon as you look at that property, call your contractor and just say, hey, I've got one that I'm looking at. Keep me in mind. I know you're probably busy, but hey, get ready to put me on the schedule, please. You know, at least to go take a look, because that's if you do that and we don't get back with you, that's on us. You know.
That's interesting that you said that. I like the way you phrase that because so many times I run into people that are demanding, "Hey, I need you to get there and look at this today or tomorrow. I'm on a deadline." I'm like, "I'm sorry, your deadline and my deadline are not the same." I work a lot, but when I have time with my family, I don't want to be interrupted. So if you contacted me on Tuesday and said, "Hey, when can you do this? Or when can you meet? Or when can you have a look at this?" I'll tell Charity all the time, "Oh, I have nothing on the schedule for tomorrow. I'm down for any time." But then on this day, I have a meeting at noon, or this day I have to go get my chiropractor appointment, whatever. But if I'm with my kids and it's Easter weekend, please don't call me and demand that I do something for you on a holiday. Now, some holidays, Black Friday, I'm all yours. Not doing anything special, not going out shopping. I'll if it's gonna help me or you or both of us, hopefully, then I'm all for it. But don't call me and demand and then talk crap. Oh, she doesn't answer her phone, dude. It's the holiday weekend. I'm with my family. Like, see, Sunday morning we weren't doing anything, but Sunday evening we had family pictures. But Saturday morning we had our Easter with our family. We have 23 of us to get together. It was a challenge to get us all together. But
Yes.
I was shocked at how many people I've talked to recently that were upset that somebody didn't jump to meet their needs on a weekend that was a holiday.
Yeah.
This weekend, so I filed it on Monday.
There you go. There you go. I'm sorry.
So please don't ask your banker or your whoever you're working with on a Saturday to get your quote.
Yeah, you're not gonna even get a response from a regular bank.
You would expect. I mean, I got calls at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and they wanted an answer.
Yeah, and that's not happening. With an institutional lender, you won't even get a response until Monday.
The last test is closed. I mean, it's done. They're closing on Friday evening. They don't open until Monday at 10 o'clock.
That's right. And they were actually probably closed on Friday because of Good Friday. And then some of them didn't open back up until Tuesday.
Yeah. And there's nothing I can do about it.
I had to eat Taco Bell on Sunday because it was closed. I couldn't eat at Bodacious. I mean, here we were in East Texas for the first time in a long time with my kids with me. And they were like, Bodacious, Magic China. They were going through the list. And I was like, well, call and see if they're even open. Because we drove to one and they were closed. Yeah. I was like, look around. Everything's closed except for the fast food restaurants. And they were like, I guess Taco Bell. Oh, we tried to go to Subway. Subway was closed. Magic China, Bodacious. And I mean, my mouth was salivating for some Bodacious smoked turkey. I mean.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess this will be a money question.
Okay.
How much, let's say you wanted to borrow 40, maybe 50,000 to do a house, maybe subject to.
Go to a
How much, say it again?
Go to a hard money lender.
If it's on a subject to, but they won't lend on a subject to for the rehab, right?
I'm trying to see like how much, if let's say I wanted to borrow money, private money, to take over a mortgage, subject to. How much do you think that they would give ratio of like per month would be acceptable for like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cash flow? If I'm splitting the cash flow with them How much do you think is
Well, first of all,
unacceptable?
if you do a subject to, I'm going to tell you that right now. Let's say the house is 300,000
Mhm.
and the seller owes 260,000 and they want $40,000 from you. Then you're just
Mhm.
going to have to do the math system. If you put this house on the market and if you have to sell and you have to pay repairs and you're going to have to pay the realtor fees and you have to do this, you're right there on $40,000. You're going to have to work yourself on the numbers. You do really not have money on the subject to. Because first of all, nobody's gonna get your money. They either have to refinance the whole house out. You're gonna have to refinance it out. Um, a lender will not put a second lien on it. You might can get a hard money loan on it if you have or private money on it that you can do. But on a subject to, you're gonna have to negotiate your value that you are bringing to the table to the subject to. And that's what Roger is teaching. If you have gone through our teaching, you're gonna hear that.
Charity, didn't you go to the subject to meeting,
I
the
did.
subject to training?
Mhm.
You have to bring the value to the table. You have to tell them what it is. The only thing you can do is maybe pay the closing cost, but you're gonna have to have that money because no lender will provide you a second lien on the property. Won't happen.
Mhm.
Maybe a
Okay.
hard money deal. Yes.
Well, I know that I've seen some private money lenders go in with someone that brought the deal, and they'll give them some of the cash flow. So I was trying to see what is an appropriate amount. Obviously, when you start going 50, 60, that's a lot. But I have seen some people do deals at like maybe 25, 30, where they give people a part of the cash flow, maybe like 350 to 250 of the money.
I wouldn't do it.
No?
Because as soon as you have too many people on a subject too,
Mhm.
It gets very sticky.
it gets sticky, it gets ugly, and if somebody's not gonna participate, not following through with what you need to do, you can
Mhm.
have a lawsuit on it. So I
Oh.
mean, I'm not a lawyer.
Right,
So,
yeah, I understand. I
so,
understand.
so Charity, I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm seeing it a lot as well,
Yeah.
especially these people wholesaling subject to deals, and they call it the entry fee,
Mhm.
and that's usually astronomical.
Yeah, sometimes it can be.
And a lot of that is the seller wants some equity, and then the wholesaler wants
Yeah,
their
mhm.
assignment fee. But what they didn't take that into consideration. Like I'm not buying just any subject to. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the cash flow. I wish you had been there Saturday when Tristan Pham was talking about cash flow. That's the
Mhm.
bottom line. That's what he looks
Yeah.
like. That's what he looks at is cash flow. Roger says the same thing. I know I'm the same way. It's like I bought deals subject to where the seller wanted equity, but we had to do the repairs and we were taking over the payment. The payment was not behind. So we didn't have to do any catch up. We just stepped in and took over the payment. But what we did was we said, look, our cash is going to have to go into putting this house back together so we can get a tenant in it or get it sold and making money. So
Right.
our seller did not have the money to do that. She was having to make the payment. So we were going to be save. I try to remind them of this. I am going to relieve you of that monthly payment. How's it going to feel when I put an extra $750 in your pocket every month because I'm now taking over that payment? So they're not having to pay that payment. So that's automatically $750 staying in their account. Okay. Then I switch it around and say, okay, now for your equity that you're wanting, I know that you're wanting 10,000 or 20,000 or 40,000 or whatever, but I can't pay that and fix the property up and take over your debt. I can't do it all at the same time. So this is what I propose.
Mhm.
I'll pay you monthly. I'll give you maybe a small down payment, but if I'm having to pay a lot in repairs, I'm not even paying a down payment. But I'm
You just
paying,
give them the monthly payments on
I'm
their
doing,
equity?
yes. But
Okay.
then I have to also say, okay, I'm paying $450 a month to pay for your loan, taxes and insurance, and PITI hopefully included. If not, then you have to add those two things into your monthly payment. Okay.
Mhm.
And then how much am I paying them? Maybe I'm paying them $200 a month. Or if I say, I'll start paying
The
in
numbers
6
have to
months.
make sense.
And then I add all that up. Now, how much am I going to rent it for?
Right.
Where's my cash flow, or am I in the hole? So these are all, and I'm really good about adding, looking at all that because I'm experienced at that to say, okay, does the monthly payment include PITI? Because we bought a few that were not a loan per se through a mortgage company. It was a payday loan, 11% interest.
Oh my.
Yeah. And we paid it. The payment was like $250 a month, but we also had to pay taxes and insurance. But we rented that sucker out for $1,100 a month. We were cash flowing like crazy, so it was not a problem. Then we ended up fixing it up and then refinancing it with a commercial portfolio loan with other properties. So we were really cash flowing. But it's when someone has a loan on a property, it doesn't always mean that it is a 3% mortgage. That's why all those things are important to find out. Does it include taxes and insurance? Is it PITI, or is it just PI, or what? How are we doing this? And then add it all together. And then, like Gabi said, then look at it from the whole and say, okay, your house is worth 300, but you owe 260. If you were to sell it on the market at 260, you're going to be paying about $23,000 in fees and commissions and blah blah blah, title policy, and all that.
Yeah.
So let's take that off, because with me, you don't have to pay that.
Right.
So
right.
if they owe 260, they can't sell it for 260. Now they have to go up. They have to sell it for $23,000 more. But I'm willing to pay 260 for you to walk away.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
You really have to do the math. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, as soon as you add other people to the deal, it's not a good deal anymore. It's not a good deal for the seller. It's not a good deal for you, because that's when you're going to run into issues.
Yeah.
If you
And
cannot find it, I mean, if somebody just wants to make more money and more money and more money, then walk away. It's not worth it. And you really have to do your math. I mean, the thing is, what you can do, let's say they owe 300,000 and they really need to get out because otherwise it's going to go south. Then what you can do, and it's worth maybe 400 now, okay? Then you can go in, purchase it. I mean, make a contract with them that you're going to purchase it, and you get the house under your contract, and then refinance it out with a DSCR loan maybe, or something like that. That's definitely a possibility. But I would definitely, you have to really know the numbers, and you can always call me and talk to me about it.
yeah, you can't DSCR you can't get a DSCR on a property that's not cash flowing unless
Yeah.
and it's and if
Yeah, you have to cash flow. I mean, that's the big thing on a DSCR loan. You have to cash flow. I mean, I think an Airbnb might be cash flowing a little bit more,
Yeah.
but you have to do the numbers, and you
Yeah.
have to make sure it is really what it is.
Mhm.
And some deals are just not good. You just have to really walk away. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
one of our investors, I said, well, the wholesaler wants 125,000, but
I do too.
I'm not.
Me as well.
I'm not comfortable paying more than 100,000 for it, because I think that's not what it's worth. And I said, well, you know what, honestly, sweetie, then let's just walk away from it and
Yeah,
make
that's what I'm
something
doing.
deal.
Or
Okay.
just make the offer. I mean, just because a wholesaler sends a property out at X amount does not mean by any means that is the amount that they're willing to,
Yeah.
at least they're willing to
Yeah.
take.
And that's this is what this investor did. They said, okay, 100,000, that's it. And I don't think they got it. I think what happened is then a borrower came in who really, I mean, it was just basically the value was 125, but it was the retail value. And as an investor, you do not want to buy retail value. You just don't want to do it. If you're not embarrassed enough to make the offer, you're offering too much.
That's right.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
That's
Now,
right.
I mean, I talked this morning to somebody and I said, if you're offering too much, then there's nothing I can do about it. And I talked yesterday to one of our investors. He said, oh, I have to go to this house and make an offer. And I know they don't like it. I'm just going to waste my time now. I said, well, then just make a low offer. He said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And, some people just don't want to they don't understand numbers, and eventually they come back. Like with one of our other investors, she made a low offer, and she got it, and she was really surprised she got it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, $15,000 offer, and it was accepted not the first time, but the second or third time around. You know, the seller called and said, "Hey, can you go up?" And she said, "No, you just have to stick your gun." And then eventually they go like, instead of paying holding costs and paying this and that and this and that and going by and making sure, I take the 15,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do, you know, it's a possibility. I mean, is it always like that? No. Does it work that way? No. But you really have to work your numbers. And the other
So
thing I want to say is, when you go into contract, make sure you have a contract bid.
contractor bid for your estimate of repairs.
Yes, at least
Written,
Huh?
a written and
written.
preferably itemized bid.
It has to be a written estimated bid on the contractor letterhead. Okay, it cannot just be a piece of paper like this, my scribble scrabble.
I scribble scrabble.
That's true, though.
So another thing I want to bring up, Gabi, one of the things that you were talking about was I buy off my numbers. My numbers, your numbers, Tim's numbers, and Charity's numbers may all be different. We're in different locations. We're doing different exit strategies. Everything is different. If I'm wholesaling, I have to be under what I can sell it to an investor for. So you can't go negotiate a badass subject to deal and then add a $30,000 or $50,000 assignment fee on it and expect me to just I'm like, no. Like number one, you had to negotiate a good enough deal that somebody else can take it over subject to. And then it has to be badass enough for them to pay you an assignment fee that is reasonable. And I see a lot of people on there. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't know what I've done wrong. You know, the seller was only wanting $1 million. Oh, gosh, I saw one. What was it? 11 million. And he wanted 5 million down. I don't even remember. And everybody was just, I mean, berating the heck out of this guy for his post. He's learning. And they were like, why would anyone do that? Like, why would anyone do that? Just because it's a creative seller finance deal does not mean that it's a good deal. I mean, heck, I wish people would pay me this much money. And shoot, I'd do it all day long. But if it's not a good deal, it's not a good deal.
Yeah.
No. Also, I mean, if you think that you can, I mean, I have one loan company that does go down to a minus income cash flow.
Negative cash flow.
Yeah, it's down to 0.75%, but it's a risk that you take. I mean, if you know, okay, I'm going to keep this property for the next 10, 15 years, it may work, but
if you're going off the expectation that it's going to gain an appreciation, and eventually you're going to have to cash flow. Otherwise, unless you're just comfortable making somebody else's payment.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want money coming out of my pocket every month to pay somebody else, pay somebody else's rent or I don't want to be paying somebody to live in my house.
Yes, exactly.
But then again, I guess if I was needing, I was willing to pay if I was willing to lose $100 a month cash flow versus keeping it empty for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, give and take, but what I'm also running in now from the mortgage side is that investors want to sell their property because they don't like it anymore, and they never, ever, ever increase the rent.
Oh yeah, I do annual increases. I mean, what I personally do is I look at my notice of appraised values each year, and say, okay, last year is appraised at this much, and this is what our taxes were. This year it appraised for this much, and now our taxes are up to here. First thing I look at is the difference in each one. I mean, when you have a lot of properties, you've got to look at it in the grand scheme of things. And then I look to see if there were any that were big jumps. Is it accurate? Did I renovate that property, or did the county or the city or the tax assessor just arbitrarily raise my value because it thinks that since 3 other people on the block had their houses renovated and now they're
Well,
appraised for more.
yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
well, the thing is, let's say you have a rent to own, okay?
Uh-huh.
You do a rent to own, or something like that. Or let's say you're getting somebody in and you say, okay, I'm going to pay the $100 rather to have somebody in the property
Yep.
than vacant. And that person makes their payment and everything else, and then but you're gonna have to be honest with that buyer, with the tenant, and say, okay, I'm gonna let you rent it for less because I'd rather have somebody in there than not. But the real rent would be this amount, and it would go up to this amount because eventually I want to sell this property. Would you
Right.
be interested in buying the property, but your payment will be doubled?
I see
Okay.
what you're saying.
And you have to be that honest with that person. I mean, if you cannot be honest with the person, then please don't do it. I mean, I dealt yesterday with somebody, and the person said, I mean, this is how much rent I'm paying. I said, you're doing what? How much? And this is the second person that I'm dealing with from this investor. So the last one had to pay basically $1,000 more by purchasing the property. And this one would be the same thing.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
I mean, nobody can jump from $1,000 higher on payments. I mean,
Tough, yeah.
that's a payment shock that
Yeah.
nobody can take.
Mhm.
Okay?
I mean,
Nobody can
generally
take.
they say when you're renting, you're paying more than you could buy the property for. You could buy the property for less than you're paying in rent, but oftentimes that's not the case. Like, we had Keisha had rented a property and she had not taken into consideration that the property that she was buying was on a homestead exemption. So then her taxes went up on the property. I'm sorry, y'all. I've got something has bit me or something, and I'm just itching like crazy. I think I put this on 3 times. But the she had not taken that into consideration, so her taxes went up to an amount that, when it figures into the monthly cost of expenses, she was making $15. There were some other factors as well, and so she said, I don't know what to do. So I said, look, this is what I would say, hey, Mrs. Tenant, by the way, just so you know, I just got my new my new appraised values in, and my taxes have gone up. And when your lease expires in April, the new rent is going to be substantially more. It's going to be, I think it was going to go up like $150 a month. And I just want to let you know, I want to give you plenty of time to make that decision if you're going to stay or if you're going to be moving out, so you can give me notice. And then I said, be flexible. Let her know, by the way, I know this is a large jump, and I understand completely if you don't want to stay at that amount. And if you happen to find something else to rent in the meantime, if you need me to let you out of your lease, I'm happy to do that. Because you're making the tenant happy. They weren't expecting it. You weren't expecting it. They weren't expecting it. But if you just hide it from them and then spring it on them at lease renewal, they're going to be upset. You're going to lose the tenant. They're probably going to destroy the property, and you're probably not going to get paid anyway.
Yeah.
But by doing that, she enabled that tenant to find somewhere else. And guess what happened? The tenant is moving out. The daughter is taking over the lease, and she's going to do a rent to own. The daughter that was living there with the mother is moving out, the daughter is staying, the boyfriend's moving in, they're doing rent to own. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Plus, if you give them time, then they can give you time.
Yeah, exactly.
Let
And
you
then
know, hey, look, I'm
you
gonna
can get
move out.
somebody in at a higher amount, paying the extra.
Exactly.
So
We'll make an installment. Say, okay, it's gonna go up over the next year. Then maybe just make smaller installment, not just go jump into it.
now that's what I do for my properties that I buy that already have a tenant in them and they're at below market rents. I let them know. By the way, the rents are going to be raised to we had several, and the rents were $485, and the market rent was $750. So we just went in and said, by the way, wow, I know that you've been getting a good deal on rent. So just so you know, when your lease is up we're going to be raising the rents to $750. Same scenario. Is there anything but we would add this, is there anything that you would like to see us repair to the property? Any changes that you would like to see made or fixed in order for it to constitute paying that higher rent? Because often, especially if you buy a property that is in less than desirable conditions, maybe you bought from a slumlord, for example, their properties are often in really bad shape, but their tenants know that and they're willing to stay there because their rent is so cheap and that's all they can afford. But in these particular ones that we bought, we asked them and they said, well, the ceiling fans have never worked, or the light, the light flickers, or the back door got kicked in. I was broken into and the back door was kicked in and they never replaced it. So there's like a big piece of wood across it to keep it shut. So she can't use the back door. Like she just wanted a back door. And these were all, we just talked to each one individually and let them know. Some moved out, some stayed, but those ones that moved out, we were able to get fixed up and rented at the higher rate anyway. So it was not, we didn't lose anything. We had one that said, I absolutely cannot afford that. I want to stay, but I can't afford it. So we agreed to keep her rent low. But while everybody else was getting tiled out showers, hers remained the same.
Yeah, or you can ask them, hey, can you make some improvements in the house yourself?
Yeah.
That's true.
Because when you're doing that, you're improving your property that you own. You're improving the value. You're bringing it up. And that's a win-win for you as well as the tenant.
Yeah. Just negotiate. But make sure you're gonna talk to the tenants really in details by saying, hey.
Oh my gosh, it's after 1.
Yeah.
Having such a good time talking to you, ladies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be honest with you, Tim. Hey, one question. Does anybody have something in the south of Granbury or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, at least a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
I need 2-bedroom, 2 baths.
You said in Granbury?
Granbury, that's Granbury, Burleson, Crowley, Godley, or Crescent, or Joshua.
And it's got to be 150 or less, 150K or less.
Well, actually, should be less than that because we're gonna have. She's willing to repair it herself. She's willing to do peel and paint and do everything what she can to get a smaller house to call it her own.
But it's got to be. So is it going to be a loan?
Yeah, there's going to be a loan on it, a conventional loan. So it's not
so peeling paint is acceptable. With FHA, it's not. But
yeah, so basically it can be, but she wants to basically move into it eventually. She said, I can put carpet in, I can paint the walls, I can make it nice for me to move in, but we need something that's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So maybe
2-bedroom, 2-bath or larger, under
140.
Under 140. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, at least a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, under 140,000. She's okay with doing repair, paint and floor,
flooring. Yes.
Okay, and
so cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, cosmetics. Yeah, okay. And if she gets a good enough deal, then maybe she would be willing to do a little more.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But she's going to be living in it. She wouldn't qualify for an investor loan.
She needs a conventional loan, right?
Conventional, yeah. And she wants it in Granbury, Burleson, somewhere along. Is it I-20? I-30?
Yeah, it's kind of I-20 neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Easy access to the highway because she's a truck driver, so she wants to have pretty good access to the. She should rent my house in East Texas or buy my house in East Texas. It's more than that, so it won't work. Okay. Yeah. All right. If you want me to, let me go get our link to our meeting. So we have our meeting coming up on finding, analyzing, and funding your real estate investing deals. This is an all-day elite training. We're going to spend all day with you on that, and it's $49 on April, and it's April the 22nd. We're going to start about 9. What did we say? 9:30?
9 o'clock.
About 9 o'clock and go till about 2. And that end time, you need to be aware that end time you need to be a little flexible, because if we find properties to go look at, if you don't want to go look at them, you can absolutely go ahead and leave. I'm throwing this in the comments, and hopefully it'll show up. That's our link to the meetup event, so you can go sign up for that. Let me grab the actual. That one looks better.
And we're gonna have some more workshops coming up. Actually, I just talked to Vivi this morning. She would like to get one done too.
Okay.
And we have one in August, the 26th in Denton.
Okay. All right, great. And so what we're doing is we are looking at our deals that have been pitched to us from other wholesalers or deals that we're currently considering. And then we're going to show you how we analyze the deals. So what gets us to open your email, wholesalers? I actually have OT Investment Group. They are a wholesaling company that we worked with for the expo, and they actually did a specific marketing campaign for the immediate area to where we're going to be that day. They're in Addison. I mean, obviously, you can find properties in Addison, but Richardson and the surrounding areas to try to find us properties in those areas that's close enough for us to drive. I can't have a meeting and then drive an hour and a half to look at a property and then have to drive an hour and a half back. So we're going to analyze the deals, and then Gabi is going to know about them ahead of time, and she's going to pre-analyze it and get her lenders to look at it and say, yes, I'll lend on it, and these are my requirements for the applicant, for the borrower, and this is what my terms would be. So she'll have a general idea of what kind of funding is available for that property. And then we're going to have everyone that comes to the meeting have a general idea of their credit score, and then their list of all their experience, their spreadsheet with all their experience on it. And then essentially you're going to come in, learn what properties I look at and how to get them to be open, how we analyze them based on your exit strategy, and then how to get the funding. If one of the properties we look at, if you want to make an offer on it, by all means, talk to Gabi, talk to OT Investment Group, or whoever has the property under contract. And then we're going to go look at the property, physically walk through it. We're also going to estimate the rehab based on not seeing the property, but hopefully having pictures, and then go actually walk through the property. And then you could actually walk away having a deal under contract that day to buy. Yeah. So we're super excited about it. Super excited.
I think it's amazing. I think that's something that we really noticed at the expo that was needed.
Well, after talking with the guy Friday that thought that all rehabs were $35,000, I was in shock. I'm like, we need to correct that immediately. I think it was just a coincidence that all the videos and all the trainings that he had been watching, they were using the estimate of repairs as an estimate of 35,000. I haven't seen 35,000 even on my 2-bedroom. I mean, I guess if it was just anyway, but we're going to debunk a lot of those myths and just show you the right way to do it. So we're excited. Okay, if you want to come to the meeting, I put the link in the comments, and it's on I put the links in the comments. Or give me a call. Let me put my phone number up there. Banners, Karen. Where's my phone number? There I am. Give me a call. There's my phone number, 903-445-6023. And I will, or you can text me and just tell me that you need the information for the meeting for finding, analyzing, and funding your real estate investing deals. It's going to be a all-day meeting from like 9 to 2 or so. And then we're going to go look at the properties. So we may go a little later, but if you don't go look at the properties, then you may end earlier. But we're going to break it all down step by step. And we'll see you then. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.